side because it's like they want to give a quick tip.
Yeah.
But then on the consumer side, because like I tried the quick tip and it didn't work. And it's like context.
Okay, guys, give a warm welcome to my friend Noelle, who, we go back, honestly.
Oh my gosh.
First of all, welcome, Noelle. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. Honestly, it feels very full circle. And before we got on, I was saying it feels like a manifestation. Like, just very aligned.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
A little backstory. Me and Noelle actually used to be neighbors back in the day when I lived in downtown LA. And I don't even remember how we first met.
It was the gym.
Yeah.
The gym, because I picture you like walking on the treadmill.
Yeah.
Like your incline, and I did the same thing. And it was like,
oh my God, wait, literally. Oh my God, that's so true. Yeah.
And we were both going through skin stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's what really, I feel, brought us together.
I was coming out of it, and you were like a little bit,
Yeah, we would have so many great talks back then, and I feel like we were so aligned. I was just saying this a second ago to, I just feel like we have so many common interests as far as wellness goes, and if you guys look at Noelle's page, it's literally everything I've ever gone through and thought about. Bloating and skin issues and gut health and everything. Why don't we get into your story a little bit? What led you on this path?
That opens up a big box. Okay. What first comes to mind, honestly, first I'll start with, today I have a holistic wellness practice, mainly working with women. I work mainly as a coach, but I'm also a nutritionist, and I specialize, it kind of just happened organically, I specialize in gut issues, which I'm sure we're going to get into. It's more than digestive issues. It's chronic acne, it's autoimmune, it's weight issues, it's hormone issues. But how I got there, a little bit of a mess. So basically, I had always struggled with my relationship to food, and like so many women, maybe I don't want to put labels on like disorder, but it was a really bad relationship to food, and that was then a really bad relationship to my body. Mm-hmm. And after coming out of that, this is like early teen years, then I start developing really extreme digestive issues. And at the time, even though it seems obvious now, I wasn't putting the two together. Like, oh, you went through this extreme eating disorder, your body's gonna have a little bit of a backlash. Anyways, it got worse pretty fast. And I went from just having a little bit of digestive issues to like being in the doctor's office once a week. That turned into no period. That turned into mental health, just like trash fire. That's the way I describe it. Of just feeling anxious about everything, depressed, and it's like not being able to pull apart whether it was because of my physical symptoms or because my whole life was revolving around my health, like at such a young age. And then, this is 2 years of that in high school, my digestive issues got so bad, I couldn't eat. So I was on the path to needing a permanent feeding tube.
Oh my God.
I don't think we ever got that part of my story, but I say that to say just how bad it got, because there's another side of it. Went to the best doctors, basically just hit a bunch of brick walls. They did the best they could, but I hit brick walls. It just forced me to go down a different route, and that led me to nutrition, functional medicine, holistic root cause approaches. And it was a journey, but within 6 months of going that way, I was reversing my symptoms.
Only 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wow.
Wow. And this is after doctors are saying, like, you have this condition, you have this condition, you have this condition. It's a lifelong thing. And I'm feeling better. And so that just turned on a light switch in my mind of just, wait a minute. One, I have more control over my life, things that I thought I did. It's very empowering. But that was what really turned me on to health, because I realized, wow, my health, how I feel, is the foundation. It sounds so corny, but it's like, it's the foundation of my whole life. And I don't have that, forget it. Like, I don't have anything. So that's what got me down the road. And then I started sharing my story. And then my first inquiries with women were about, can you help me with my digestive stuff? And then it just kind of evolved into doing that for work.
To go through that at such a young age, you know?
So that's just like, thank God you were able to find what worked. And
Totally. But I see it honestly as like, it was the biggest blessing because it put me on my path. And it taught me what I feel like is one of the biggest lessons for women in general, young women. It's like your body and how you treat your body and how you take care of your body, your relationship with your body really can set the tone for your relationship to people, your relationship to your life. And I learned that at such a young age. So I'm super grateful for it. And I get to help other people now. So.
Why do you think so many women struggle with this to the point where you just see these, I feel like it's so common that you'll even see these casual memes like, I'm just a girl with stomach issues, you know, me and my tummy ache. Like, it's so common.
It's wild. It's wild. When I was going through it, I thought I was in my own bubble. And then you start talking about it, and every second person, like you were saying. But I think it's multifactorial. And I think that there's not one cause.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just diet or it's just stress. But we're speaking really macro level. I just feel like the general way that we're living, eating, like running our lives is not really in alignment with how our body is designed to function. So it takes a lot of intentionality to like eat and live in a way that is just going to support your body's function. But when we're not living in that way, our body just goes, I don't know what to do with this. I'm trying to get your attention here. And the first thing that typically happens when we're somehow out of alignment, our diet, stress, whatever, is our gut. Like, our gut is usually the first thing to try to get our attention because it's at the center of our body. You can think of it as like, it's like the master controller in a way.
I don't know if there's a way you could simply answer this. Maybe there is. I'm not sure. But how would you even define just the phrase gut health? Because I feel like that's also something that kind of gets thrown around a lot.
I'm so glad you're asking this. So, to say it simply, my definition of gut health is when your digestion itself is running smoothly, and you'll know because you won't have any digestive issues. You're not experiencing symptoms. You're not like going into a meal going, oh gosh, what's gonna happen? And overall, your body feels pretty balanced. That's a bit of a broad definition, but because like gut health affects so many things, you know you have good gut health if you don't have digestive issues and you're pretty darn healthy. Your skin's clear, you're at the weight you want to be, you don't have brain fog. But the more like sciencey definition of gut health is that your microbiome is diverse. Your microbiome's in your large intestine, it's diverse, and like that's the thing. But practically speaking, like good gut health, you won't be bloated.
Yeah.
You won't feel puffy. You won't feel like crap. That's how you'll know.
one of the questions I had to ask you is, how do you know if you have poor gut health? But you
Totally just answered it.
I think the big thing for women to know is, like I was saying a second ago, gut health, you'll know in a really obvious way if you have digestive symptoms, if you're bloated, if you need a laxative to go to the bathroom, if you get stomach cramps or something like that, or if you have like a full-blown diagnosis of IBS or IBD, these things that we see on TikTok or that are really common conditions, you'll know. But the sneaky ones of like, you may not connect it to your gut, is if you have chronic skin issues. like adult acne or eczema or psoriasis, or let's say you eat really healthy, you work out, but you feel like you're holding this layer of like puff, like inflammation. Like a lot of women that just can't describe it as like they feel puffy.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a sign. Okay, there's something going on there. Even just brain fog, feeling like you need to sleep in the middle of the day, especially after eating, that's how you know. But oftentimes the symptoms, like there's multiple symptoms.
Yeah.
There's things going on versus just one.
Totally relate with the acne, because I know we mentioned at the beginning, but that's something you and I kind of bonded over.
Literally.
And yeah, it was just so crazy for me at the time. You know, a lot of people know my story of I was vegan, doing this very severe vegan diet, and then once I started to, you know, kind of want to get out of that and transform my diet and just change what I was eating, I was just getting so many symptoms, like basically most everything you just described. And the adult chronic acne was one of the major ones.
And were you saying that happened when you switched to start eating a more normal or more balanced diet from the vegan?
I think all throughout that time I had bad digestion. Like things were not running smoothly. And then I started lifting weights, and I started to have these really intense cravings for like salmon and chicken and like these things that I hadn't eaten in a long time. And I think it was just during that whole period of like trying to figure out what I was going to do, and like kind of being scared to try certain foods because I just hadn't eaten them so long, and like my whole identity was being vegan. And I don't even think at the time I really put it together, like, oh, I'm having these like stomach pains, and then I'm having acne, and all this is going on. And it's kind of like what you said, it's like now looking back, it's kind of obvious that they're all related.
Totally.
But at the time I was just like, what's going on?
But it's so real, like what you're saying. When I'm looking at it from the outside looking in, when you just said that, on the surface it sounds like, yeah, like I'm eating healthy.
Right.
I'm eating healthy, I'm moving my body. I'm like the healthy friend.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Literally.
It's that confusion. But then like with kind of putting on my lenses of gut health and gut healing, I go back to what you were saying a second ago. The vegan diet, perhaps, like over time, that was not aligned with what your body needed.
Mm-hmm.
So your body's gonna try to get your attention.
Yeah, it's like you think you're being the healthy friend. I'm vegan. I'm eating the vegan plant-based alternatives. Why is it making me feel horrible?
But we don't know what we don't know.
Totally.
You know, and there are some people that, I mean, obviously, YouTube is like your thing. And it's like such an incredible platform. And I think we forget sometimes as consumers that people can share their story of like what works for them. Like I'm thinking back to when I was looking for solutions.
Yeah.
What works for them. And then you see someone who is vegan and they have hair down to their feet and they have clear skin. And you're like, oh my God, that's the way.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I've learned with nutrition, like literally working with people, is every body is so different.
Yeah.
So just because one person's thriving on something doesn't necessarily mean your body will too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about like which diet is the right one. It's like which one's gonna be right for you.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that you like listen to your body. Like a lot of people don't listen to those cravings.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost more the other way. It's like, no, I'm gonna be strong. I'm gonna stick
Yeah.
to this food.
It's hard to even imagine my mindset at that time, because it's just so true. Like once you have something, you take it for granted. Because I just remember looking in the mirror like crying because my skin was so bad, like just being so uncomfortable every day after eating anything. It's like, wow.
It can become all consuming.
Yeah.
It can become all consuming. And even if you're not somebody who's like usually typically obsessive over your looks, like it's so natural to, I remember feeling this way personally. I never thought about my skin. And then when you have a face full of acne, you see that.
Yeah.
And you can't not hyperfixate.
Mm-hmm.
So for anybody out there, it's totally normal if you feel like you're hyperfixating because your body's trying to get your attention. It sucks, but your body's like, hey, hey, hey.
Thoughts on coffee and caffeine? I remember you used to post about the organic coffee, and I still think about that every time I see the organic coffee. But are you still a coffee girly?
So I love coffee. Like,
same.
The recommendation aside, I love coffee and I like caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
But this is gonna sound like maybe a cop-out answer, but it truly just depends. Like, I know some women who they could have a black coffee in the morning with their breakfast and there's no anxiety, there's nothing. They feel fine. A different woman can have half a cup of coffee with a full meal and put cream in it, and she's having all types of issues. So I think with coffee, one, it's like you just want to look at, are you drinking excessive amounts? And excessive amounts is like over 2 cups of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
If you're feeling anxious, if you're having digestive issues, like coffee is one of the first things that I do look at to just go, okay, like, are you having way more than really like any body should have?
Yeah.
Let's just taper it back. But I'm not an all or nothing there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Totally. And I've heard, and even just in my own experience of even just different times of the month, you know, like during the luteal phase, I try to cut back.
That is so true. That is super true. Are you into cycle syncing?
To a degree.
Okay.
I would say yes, but I'm not like super strict with it.
But like the awareness.
The awareness for sure, yeah.
Same. And I think it's like a fun experiment for women to go, if they feel like they have a sensitivity to coffee, if you just have a cycle tracker,
mm-hmm.
just take a note like how you feel during different weeks with the same amount of coffee. And like you said, luteal, oh my gosh, like you can feel like your anxiety is through the roof.
Yeah.
And any other time of the month, you're fine. And that's just because we're cyclical. And our hormones are always changing. Yeah.
And then also on that note, just of, you know, balance, I guess, I did also want to ask your thoughts on alcohol. And then just balancing, or maybe even for someone that's in the thick of it right now, trying to navigate these issues while maintaining a social life and like trying to have balance in those other ways. So it's kind of 2 questions in one.
First, if I could speak to the balance piece,
mm-hmm.
I think if you're dealing with these symptoms, like bloating, all the things that we talked about, and you want to resolve them, or you're dealing with all those things and they're becoming enough of a nuisance that you're constantly thinking about it, if you make that your number 1 priority, getting your body back to balance, then later you will be able to handle more of the social balance and like a drink here or eating a food that isn't perfectly clean. So to speak to the balance piece, I always say it's like, let's get your body balanced first, and then we worry about the staying balanced. It's hard to stay balanced when you're already walking on a tightrope. To the alcohol piece, the objective is, it's a toxin. Like, it just is. Like, it's a toxin for the body and it's tough, but specifically with the gut, it can be very, like, the word is, I think, degrading for the gut lining. Mm-hmm. Why that's a problem, and your microbiome. It's just not great for your microbiome. Why that's a problem if you're dealing with these symptoms is your gut lining and your microbiome are like the things that you're trying to strengthen, the things that are going to give you your health back, if we're really simplifying it. So when we drink, it just kind of adds gasoline to the fire of just not giving our body a chance to calm down. But when I'm working with somebody, it's like, I say the biggest thing is just cutting back. Like, if you're drinking every weekend or you like a glass of wine at night, like, be intentional and just cut back until you see your symptoms resolve. Like, if you're on a gut healing journey, you're on a body rebalancing journey, like, just take a break. See it. It's all about how you see it. See it through the lens of, let me get my body balanced first, or back in a place where I feel somewhat comfortable.
Yeah.
Then I have my whole life to play with how much can I really handle and creating that balance. But I think we can get stuck in between a rock and a hard place when we're trying to be balanced when we are feeling out of balance.
Yeah. That makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you need the foundation.
Exactly. Like, exactly.
I know you mentioned TikTok. And what do you think about some of these trends, or, you know, when people promote certain products? I know, I feel like I don't see it as much now, but, you know, the green juice powders and this will cure your gut and all of these things.
I feel two ways about it. The first way is like, I'm so happy that people have a platform and can share what works for them. If it really does, like, that's great. Everybody should be able to say that. But at the same time, I think that platforms like that, and I'm on TikTok, I mean, full disclosure, I'm on it. They are designed to be very short snippets that don't have a lot of context. And when it comes to gut issues or skin issues or weight issues and resolving them, I'm not saying it has to be rocket science, but there's layers to things. So I think when we see a trend, like L-glutamine, for example, a lot of girls got on L-glutamine. I actually love using L-glutamine and recommend it to clients, but it's in combination with other things.
Yeah.
But these platforms, a lot of times, because of the algorithm and the way that it's set up so an individual can grow on that platform, we have to make these little snips, and then they're taken out of context, and it's like, I tried this thing and it didn't work. And so I almost feel like it's unfair on both sides.
Yeah.
Like, unfair on the creator side, because it's like they want to give a quick tip.
Yeah.
But then unfair on the consumer side, because they're like, I tried the quick tip and it didn't work.
Literally it. That explains it 100%. That's everything.
And it's like context.
Yeah.
I think it's a good resource to get ideas, but I wouldn't necessarily rely on it as like your solutions.
Yeah.
If you're truly serious about, okay, I need to get through my acne, or I need to get through my bloating. Dabble, do what you need to do. But take those things as just little ideas.
Quick tips. You should start that as a series. Quick tip of the day. For someone listening who may be going through some of these symptoms and maybe, you know, they're in that state of just trying to figure out what is going on, how do I get out of this? What are the first steps that you would recommend in moving into that journey and healing the gut and just getting to that place of balancing out the body?
Yeah. I think the first place it starts really is realizing that as much as it sucks to feel like crap, like, your body isn't against you, and deciding to become in partnership with your body. Why I think that's an essential first step is because when we are going into fix-it mode can lead to very graspy actions and frustration and just make you more stressed out, make the whole process more stressful than it has to be. Like, just decide, okay, my body's a little bit out of balance right now. I'm going to partner with it and understand what it needs. Okay, then from there, the first place I always start is with diet. Like, it really can't be overstated, and I think you want to just, from a non-judgmental place, look at how you're eating and go, well, one, is this working? Do I feel good on this diet? Like, first we have to acknowledge that for ourselves before we start even making changes. Okay, acknowledge that. And then it really depends on, like, how you're eating right now to, like, what changes you're going to make, you know? So it's like, if you're kind of eating balanced, but you're still grabbing protein bars and, like, you're just kind of eating things on the go, like, you have a pretty balanced diet. I would just say you want to start with taking out the processed stuff. And then second is trying your best to become more intentional with how you eat. And what that tangibly looks like is just deciding, okay, my body's out of balance, I want to get it back in a rhythm. I'm gonna eat 3 times a day at roughly these times. Like, it could literally start that simple.
Yeah.
Versus adding in so many different things to do. A lot of times we're just very out of sync. And we're like, sometimes we're eating at 11 and then we're eating at 4. And these patterns then lead us to eat things we don't want to eat, or they're not great for us. So just like going back to basics. Then when it comes to like what we'd actually remove, the first things I recommend are removing gluten, removing dairy, and removing a lot of raw vegetables, like raw veggies, nuts, and seeds, which usually make women go, what?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say remove, I just mean temporarily. Basically giving your body, your gut, a break from foods that are known to be irritating and aggravating for most guts. So you give your body a break from those things, and I say for at least 3 weeks. When your gut is out of balance, when you're feeling like crap, you can also see it as like your body's just stressed out. So what do you do to something that's stressed out? Do you add more stuff to it?
Right.
No. You try to de-stress it by simplifying, calming it down. So the same goes with your diet, your routine, like even supplements. I'm often working with women who like, we have a cabinet full of supplements, right? And and there's nothing wrong with that, but when you're struggling and you like don't know what to choose and you're like, I'm not changing things every day, it's like, get into a routine. At most, you want to be on like 4 to 5 steps until you know what your body needs.
Mm-hmm.
But removing these irritating foods, gluten, dairy, the raw veggies, alcohol like you brought up, and I say do it for 3 weeks. And that kind of helps put things into perspective where you're not like, oh my gosh, I'm going to eliminate all these things forever and I'm never going to eat pizza again. It's terrible. And then you give up.
Yeah.
But the goal is just getting back in balance, giving yourself a break. So do that for 3 weeks. And then on top of that, this is like another quick tip, is use a like the notes app on your phone or literally a piece of paper and just keep a diary of what you're eating and how you feel after you eat. Don't worry about macros, don't worry about calories, just what are you eating? Because when you remove certain irritants that I mentioned, and then you just have this practice of writing down what you're eating and how you're feeling, that is going to enlighten you so quick as to what's working for you, what's making you not feel good, or what you kind of know you've been doing, but you haven't really had to look at it.
Yeah.
So you really see it and you go, okay, I need to change. I need to change that. Yeah. And that's where I would start. And that's if you're, kind of just, again, kind of basic out of balance. If there's really specific things going on, sometimes you need more intervention. Like you might need certain supplements. You might need to be a little bit more specific with your diet, but that's a good place to start.
So much of our culture and like how we grow up is very taking us out of ourselves and our intuition, which our intuition is so powerful, as women. And it's just kind of returning to that, I think.
Totally. And I think the whole intentional piece, it's like the last thing that we want to do.
Right.
We feel like a hot mess. And we're just like, like, it's almost like attracts. Like when we're stressed out, we tend to do stressy things.
Yeah.
Like, and we don't want to do calming things because it's like not matching our energy.
That is so true. It's easy to do my mindfulness meditation when I'm waking up feeling good, and calm.
Yes. Yes. When you're like, oh wow, I've had a great week, I want to meditate now.
Yeah. Cherry on top.
But as somebody, going back to my, like when we opened up, shared my story, I had to learn all this stuff firsthand and really fight against myself of having the intuition of I need to do this, but then not doing it because I just wouldn't allow myself.
Yeah.
So I think, and also these issues, as much as they suck, they're such an opportunity. We kind of spoke to that, but there's such an opportunity to reconnect with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you come out on the other side, you're going to know yourself on such a deep level.
Yeah.
That is so personal to you. Like when you understand your body, I'm wondering if this is like anything you've come through with your journey, because I know with the diet changes and your skin and all of it, it's when you feel connected to your body, you know what your body needs. Like there's a certain confidence as a woman that comes with that, like that intuition piece that you're speaking to. It's getting back to yourselves and seeing these things that come up, the acne, the weight you can't lose, the bloating, as your body trying to guide you back to yourself.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just felt like my body was betraying me.
Yeah.
I felt so deeply betrayed.
Totally.
And like a hot mess. And just like, why? We always feel like it's just us.
Yeah.
But, and then the mental part of it can keep you so stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think these mental reframes are so like powerful in a way. They sound very like positive and fluffy, but like you want to grasp onto them if you're struggling with your body, because that stuff can get to your mind so quick.
Mm-hmm. Even just knowing that there's hope, and you know, that's why I love your page and just everything that you stand for, honestly, because it is so true that, you know, so many people don't even know these are issues or something that can be resolved. It's just like, oh, this is it. Like, yeah, my body is just against me. That's just how it is.
It's the conditioning, like you were speaking about. It's really wild, and that's why I share my story. It was so extreme. Like, if my body can spring back, like, or my gut can spring back, I can eat normally now. Like, I have a social life. Like, just speak to these, I can, and I'm not advocating drink alcohol. I can enjoy a drink every now and then and not have a total meltdown, you know? Like, your body will come back for you.
Thank you so much for being here. This was amazing.
Thank you.
Podcast coming soon on your end, question mark? I know you've been...
I really exposed myself the other day on Instagram.
You did.
But yeah, it's been both a long time coming and I think like the perfect time, but there will be a podcast. I'm not going to give an exact date, but
coming soon.
Coming soon.
And in the meantime, where can people find you, and are you taking new clients right now?
Ooh, yeah. So I basically live on Instagram. My handle's LA Noelle Lissett. You can find me there. I have a website, noellelissett.com. I'm on TikTok. I think that's Light and Aligned. It's spelled out, Light and Aligned Noelle. And then, yes, I am taking new clients right now, and you can find all the information for that on my Instagram page. And I mean, if you have any questions, just DM me. I'm very active on there and would love to even just hear your story, what you're going through, and if I can help, I love to.
Yes. Well, thank you again so much for being here, and thank you so much to everyone for listening. You can just imagine me and Noelle doing our incline treadmill back in the day. I forgot that's what it was. That's so funny.
Thank you so much, Stella. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for listening. All of Noelle's links will be in the description, so definitely make sure you follow her and check her out. And I will see you guys in the next episode.